Hello, everybody. Welcome back. And today we're just going to talk about how modern video games are not the same and they're much more boring than usual. And let's just dive straight in. Everything has to be meta nowadays. And let's just say that this way of mindset of playing meta only can get very old very fast. Now, I don't mind for people playing meta and actually wanting to win games. However, I think the problem is with people playing only meta is that it gets boring really, really quickly. Now, whether that is very, very satisfying characters or with very boring characters, it can be very, very, very stale depending on which game is played. For example, Overwatch. Now, Overwatch, I remember when that game first came out, that was such a goated game. That game was so good when it comes to 6v6 and team out. And now we have Overwatch 2, which is what it is, but I don't know. I'm not too sure how I feel about it with one tank and 2 DPS and 2 supports. Whether I believe 2 tanks, 2 DPS and 2 supports is the way to go. More or less, the whole meta of that game for a while used to be dive, and basically where dive is, it's a playstyle where the whole team jumps on the back lines, such as supports, and wipe them out really so fast to the point where the DPS and the tanks just die because there's no one healing the DPS and tanks. And that playstyle was on for so long to the point where they decided to add Brig, which is a counter dive pick, which was so broken to the point where they literally had to add a roll queue. But before roll queue was GOATs, which was 3 tanks and 3 supports, because they did it all. Tanks in that game was so OP that DPS became redundant. And GOATs were so meta to the point where it was every single game that you play in higher ranks. But if you're in low ranks, you can argue that it was a bit more different because of the fact that in low ranks, a lot of people were just mucking around at the end of the day. And that's the same with every single video game that you play, such as Siege. Siege is a classic. I love Siege. Overwatch again, Call of Duty, back then. But nowadays we have skill-based matchmaking, which is, I don't know why there's skill-based matchmaking. That really, really ruins it. Nowadays, there's always some sort of cosmetic that is ready to be sold in a video game. And this is what we're going to talk about is microtransaction. Man, there is so many microtransactions now that it is ridiculous. The biggest one being the Battle Pass when Fortnite first came out. Fortnite Season 1, it's the biggest nostalgia bait that I've ever seen. It was good. Don't get me wrong, it was one of the most fun times I've ever had when that game first came out. But with how Fortnite's going, they are doing whatever it takes to actually get kids to buy skins. And don't get me wrong, microtransactions is okay. But it's to the point where things are so expensive that I would rather get myself dinner or literally buy myself a T-bone steak than buying a skin in a video game. Which, if you enjoy buying skins, I don't blame you. Some skins actually look dope as hell. But nowadays, they're just so expensive that why bother? Why bother spending your hard-earned cash where you can spend it on something else such as food? And I'll be frank, I am a glutton for food. I love food to the point where I overeat it. And that is a bad thing. And we're talking about fast food. Oh, that's a good idea. I'll do fast food next video, eh? But at the moment, microtransactions are just so bloody expensive. Most modern games now have a lot of cutting corners, if that makes sense. I don't even know how to word it properly, but you guys feel what I'm feeling, right? Games nowadays have been very off. I don't know what it is. It feels like they are cutting corners or they're experimenting with something. I have no idea. It's just that most modern video games are really bad, if that makes sense. And I can see where they're trying to do. They're trying to make most modern games unique. I guess I can see where it's going, but it is just not it. All video games are so much better when it comes to racing or shooters or many other areas. And if you want to have a good nostalgia bait, play old video games. Old video games are so good when it comes to stories and even other areas that they had to work harder on. I think that's what makes older video games so much more better, is the fact that they had to work hard and the passion is there. You can feel it. Like they were forced to work hard on graphics and game design because they were kind of limited, but they knew the competition was there. They had to do whatever it takes to achieve it. But nowadays, some games are so popular, they don't even have to try anymore. Like, what's the point of them trying if it just rakes them cash? And you can see it. They just don't care anymore, especially with maybe weapon balancing or listen to the community, because we literally play it. They update the game. It is to the point where they just don't really give a crap when it comes to balancing and what they're trying to achieve. That is everywhere at this point. I don't know what caused people to think skill-based matchmaking is a good idea. It's not. It is just ruins most people's games, because no one wants to go through a game being so good in one match and then losing 10 matches the other. It's just no fun in that. It's best to have mostly random players from varying skill, to the point where it shows you that if you spend this much amount of time in a video game, these are the results that you can get. When I used to play Call of Duty Black Ops 3, there was no such thing as skill-based matchmaking. I had to start from scratch. Level 1, KN44, no optics, no attachments. And you can tell, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, I personally think is a hard game. That game requires a lot of mechanical skill. I think a better example with this would be Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 is such a good game. It is one of the most hardest shooters I've ever played. And with it, it requires so much of your attention, you can't really untap it. And it goes from fast-paced pilots to slow-paced titans. Now imagine that was skill-based matchmaking. Do you know how bad the game that will be? That game will be ruined, literally decimated into pieces. And we know that as the community, the people who love Titanfall 2, I know you're out there, you guys would have destroyed the game. No one would play it if that was the case, that skill-based matchmaking was in that game. Overall, you can definitely see that skill-based matchmaking also gives us burnout. We just don't want to win 10 games and all of a sudden lose 50 games. That just doesn't feel right. We as video gamers just want to feel rewarded by the amount of hours that we spend on the game. Whether it's literally in Titanfall 2, for example, learning how to grapple properly on buildings, going from one map to the other, or literally practicing my tracking on console or even on mouse. Let's just hope that they just don't include it in future games, because it's just getting sick and tired of it. If they keep adding skill-based matchmaking, then we might as well just never play the game in the first place. Or we'll just stop playing video games altogether. But yeah, I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time.